Last time we talked about how Nova left the internet. Well, Nova's reason for leaving the internet was his account was hacked, but it's also notable that he was exposed for a bunch of stuff at once at the same time, both probably contributing to him leaving. However, Nova would come back shortly after with an announcement of his return and a video. Shortly thereafter, the hacker known as Razor God put Nova's account up for sale and stole the money he had in his creator fund, which amounted to somewhere around $9,000. Shortly hereafter, Nova would start Hour of Joy, his podcast, in retaliation of his mention on Kiwi Tapes and Smokey MCC's podcast, Too High for Stupid. However, Nova starting this podcast wasn't the issue. The issue was his social media manager at the time was 15. Nova once again attempting to get close to minors for his own gain. Just disgusting, man. You know, you think when you hear one thing about Nova, it's going to be the end, but then it's just more and more and more. And there's plenty more where this came from. Shortly after this, Nova would, for some unknown reason, I assume as a way to own the trolls, he became alt-right for less than a day before his core fan base, which is more left-leaning, tore him apart. He then promptly switched back. Um, Epic troll from Nova there, I do have to say. Nova's X Hamster account was also leaked, which, quite frankly, even if I wanted to, I can't show you here, and it is just as disgusting as you would think it is. Just think of everything we've already talked about that Nova's into, but probably 10 times worse. Once again, here we have Nova doing something he loves to do, trying to posture himself above other lolcows like he's not the same level of degenerate, if not even worse than some of these people. And matter of fact, the lolcows he lists here, out of all of them, him and Jupiter are the worst. Yet he doesn't even acknowledge himself as a lolcow. He has a complete lack of self-awareness.
I already have somebody that's going to be helping me out on the sidelines with several lolcows, such as Jupiter. I'm obviously going to be doing Boogie because he's kind of disgusting. If he was as smart as he was fat, he would be the next Albert Einstein. Have I mentioned Cobra yet? I'm not sure. Oh yeah, I mentioned Jupiter, I mentioned Boogie, I mentioned Cobra. Although Cobra is one of the more respectable lolcows. We're also going to be taking a deep dive into Bossman Jack, the notorious gambling kick streamer. And we're also going to be looking into some other sort of like horror cows, like Andrew Ditch. Oh my god, I fucking hate that.
And then, Nova, in his infinite wisdom, decides to leak his own phone number, saying he can be friends with fans in order to one-up Tofiachu. Nova, like all other lolcows, has a propensity to do stupid shit to prove his loyalty to his fans, who, I'm not even gonna say half the time, Nova doesn't have any fans, so he just does stupid shit and hurts himself at the end of the day. I haven't much talked about Smokey MCC or Kiwi Tapes yet. However, they are some of the biggest lolcow YouTubers on the platform. They've covered some of the smallest lolcows who've turned into some of the biggest that have been covered time and time again by even bigger creators than them at this point. Nova has been at war with them for a while now. He will act like he has the one up and then get exposed for something horrific, which then starts everything over at square one. Nova also has the propensity to sympathy bait and pretend he has done nothing wrong ever. Either that or pretend like his past actions can be forgiven just by saying sorry. Even though, for one, he's never apologized to who he's hurt, and two, he's committed unforgivable acts. Even by lolcow standards, he has committed terrible actions.
Look, I didn't want to become a lolcow. If you're watching this because you think you might be one, my advice is scroll past this video right now. It's not worth it. Believe whatever lies your mom or dad told you about the internet, and just try to lead a normal life. Being a locale is dangerous, and even sometimes it's scary. Sometimes people will try to mess with you in the worst ways possible. However, if you're just watching this because you think it's fiction, then great, keep watching this video, and I envy you for being able to believe that this is not real at all. But if you recognize yourself in this video...
Yeah, I'm just gonna stop that right there, Nova. Nobody recognizes themselves in you, not a single person. Maybe some of these other locales, maybe Cyrax would see himself in you, because you're kind of like a Cyrax type of individual. But no, none of us see ourselves in you, Nova. I'm sorry to say. Funnily enough, Nova ended up getting reported to his gym, and his gym membership was taken away. Now, personally, I don't condone getting into these locales' real lives. However, I'm not gonna exactly say this is a bad thing. As long as Nova is away from potential places where kids could be, all the better. Nova, being the ever cunning person he is, decided to go into Kiwi Tapes' chat and attempt a truce. Now, of course, this didn't go through. However, he tried his damnedest. He even ended up becoming a member of Kiwi's channel in order to try to get this truce. But, of course it didn't work because nobody wants to truce or be allied with a predator. In some action to either spite or befriend Kiwi Tapes, I'm not exactly sure, Nova would rename his podcast to Kiwi Core. This, of course, being a complete ripoff of Kiwi Tapes' entire name.
Hey all, it's Hey Nova Kadri, and Hour of Joy is no more. Hour of Joy is now officially Kiwi Core, where we delve deep into the inner core of lolcows and see how they originally became lolcows in the first place. Anyways, look out for the first episode of Kiwi Core coming out the 14th. Nova Universe, signing off.
Nova, of course, as another deflection tactic, is going to attempt to make a podcast about lolcows and their origins. But guess what? I guarantee you he's not going to be in that podcast at all because he does not see himself as a lolcow. He has almost no self-awareness. The only person I think I've seen with less self-awareness than Nova is Cyrax. He literally has no self-awareness. Eventually, in probably one of the greatest and funniest trolls ever, Smokey MCC would tweet at TX2, which was Nova's favorite band, in order to make them aware of Nova's predatory behavior. All of this culminating in it working. And TX2 did end up noticing Nova. Nova would stream snipe Smokey MCC's live stream, wherein Smokey would call Nova a pudgy pedophile, which definitely isn't a lie. However, it would recurse on Nova's stream. It was pretty funny. And after this, Nova would rage at Smokey.
He's still coming around here. Still a big fan of the show. And yeah, I think maybe one day we'll have him back on, but not right now.
Yeah, when him and Tophiachu decide to
Oh
hash things out.
shit, Inception. He's still coming around here.
Hey,
What's
Nova,
up,
you're
dude?
Nova, you're a pudgy pedophile.
Yeah, I think
Nova, pudgy pedophile.
Not right now.
Yeah, when him and Tophiachu decide.
Hi, Kiwi!
Yo!
Wait, shh.
He's still coming around here.
Hey,
What's
Nova,
up,
you're
dude?
Nova, you're a pudgy pedophile.
Yeah, I think
Nova,
Smokey, fuck!
As you can see in that clip, when faced with what he has done in his past, and even still continues to do today, Nova does not want to hear it, and he will not hear it either. He'll rage, he'll scream, he'll leave. He'll do just about anything to not face what he's actually done. Nova would then create another Discord server called Nova's Universe. This Discord server is where he would call out the creator of the Kiwi Farms thread, Osama bin Laden, who has documented much of what Nova has done throughout the years. and Pivo, the hacker mentioned before, would end up finding Nova's workplace, which was Subway. I'm going to leave it off here today, but tune in for episode 3 of Nova Files sometime next week, or this week.